But right now, we're going to talk about delicious food, and I'm so excited because Ashley has been learning to cook from Cory Schreiber, so that dinner invite's probably in my email box right now.
I think you should only eat the food I make if Cory is supervising my cooking skills. Cory Schreiber was gracious enough to invite us into his home, and if you don't know him, he's a very well-known chef. I mean, he is just impeccable and fantastic in the kitchen. So we learned how to make this chicken breast cooked with rhubarb and cherries and corn and all sorts of great food. Check it out.
So we're going to roast this off, and then we're going to saute a little bit of shallot, maybe about 2 tablespoons of that. And then we're going to add what I've shaved off here is 2 ears of corn. So that equals about 2 cups. You get about 1 cup per ear of corn. And then we're going to cream that down with a little bit of heavy cream, and then we finish it with some quinoa. So the key is to get the compote started, and then we'll cook the chicken, and then we'll cream the corn, and we'll show how it all comes together. So with the chicken dish, the first thing we've done is I've cooked down a little bit of red wine, a little bit of orange juice, and I want to soften the cherries a little bit because cherries have a fair amount of fiber and integrity to them. But the rhubarb is going to break down really fast. So I put this rhubarb in little, just rough chop. I didn't peel it. I love that red color that's on the rhubarb. It can be small, it can be large. There is some green rhubarb in the market, immature. That's perfectly fine too, but you want some of the bitterness of the rhubarb, and it's going to give off a little bit of water. It's going to contribute its own vegetable flavor to it, and that's just going to soften up with the cherries. And this again is going to be the topping for the chicken. Whether you're cooking 1 or you're cooking 4 breasts, if you're going to brown it in the pan, you get a hot pan, you can see that there's a little bit of separation with the oil. You can use a grapeseed oil, an olive oil, safflower oil, whatever it is, but you want to get that pan fairly hot because we're going to put the chicken skin side down and roast it to get a nice color on the breast. So we're just going to brown that all the way on one side, not bother turning it over until we're actually done with the chicken and ready to plate the dish. So that's going to go into the oven to roast at about 375 degrees. And then the final step is to make the vegetable preparation. So we start with just a little bit of whole butter goes in the pan. And I start with, as I mentioned earlier, just a little bit of shallot, a little bit of minced shallot. You could use some onion if you wanted to. It's just something to help. And you don't really want to brown the shallots, just a little bit of butter, releasing some of that flavor. And then we have the corn, which has been shucked off the cob. This is yellow corn. We're just going to cook that down a little bit. And again, we don't want to color this mixture, so we just want to meld the flavors together a little bit. And then what we're going to do, this is everybody remembers cream corn as a kid. Probably was in a can, but now we've moved toward cooking it fresh. So we've got the shallots and the corn, and I'm going to add a little bit of cream to this. This is going to soften the corn. It's going to bring it together. This becomes almost a secondary sauce for the dish because we do have the rhubarb and cherry compote, but now we also have this little bit of cream on the bottom. So we don't need a chicken sauce or anything. And just for a little variation, again, quinoa in with the corn.
All right, Cory, we are fresh off the stove and we are ready to plate this.
And we have the lovely chicken breast. I've tucked the bone back a little bit. I'm going to have you put the cherry and the rhubarb compote. So a little bit of red wine and orange, and this is kind of like the nice, this with chicken, or you could do this with pork. I just love adding fruit to these proteins. And then I know that you don't want to try a piece, but I'm going to have to try it.
Oh, I'm going to have to try it just to make sure.
Let's cut a little bite. And I want you to make sure that when you go in there, you get a little bit of the chicken and a little bit of the whole thing. Let's scoop some of that down there and make a mess out of it and try a piece.
Here we go.
So yeah, hopefully not too sweet, but great color combination, great seasonal combination. I've never made this before. Oh, just kidding.
Too bad you couldn't take a bigger bite there.
The part you didn't see is where I burned my mouth, and right after that I was like crying. I'm like, oh, that's hot, that's hot.
He had me at butter and cream though.
I know, all of it was fantastic. You can find that recipe on Cory's website, cookingfromthesource.com. I'm actually having like a nightmare thinking back to how I had like a scar in my mouth.
And I'm laughing inappropriately.
She's going like this, that's the part where you burned it. Yeah, great.